A few notable things have happened in the MMORPG genre over the course of the last couple weeks that I want to take a moment here to discuss. So we're just going to go ahead, jump right in, and do so. Beginning with Aion 2. Aion 2 has officially been confirmed to be releasing globally in the second half of 2025. I know what you guys are thinking, Aion 2? What? I didn't know that was even in active development. Yeah, Aion 2 has been in active development for the last several years, and as of the second half of 2025, it will be fully playable. According to the MMORPG subreddit, according to multiple sources online, including NCSoft themselves, the game is not only releasing globally in 2025, not in Korea exclusively, not in Asia specifically with global as an afterthought, no, globally by default. The marketing campaign for Aion 2 is going to begin early in 2025. The game is going to be localized into a dozen different languages, including English. That doesn't mean that the dub is going to be in English, just that the text at the very least will be. The game is going to focus on PvE. There will be PvP, probably not open world PvP according to this Reddit thread. As you guys are well aware, or you should be well aware if you played Aion in any capacity, the game was largely an open world PvP game. There were regional PvP skirmishes that happened, the Abyss skirmishes. There, like, you couldn't go anywhere in Aion without getting attacked or attacking someone, either on the Ilios or the Asmodean side. The business model is going to be the same as Throne and Liberty, as noted in the subreddit rep. I honestly didn't play much of Throne and Liberty because I thought it was a boring MMO. I'm sure some of you don't think that or feel that same way, and that's perfectly fine. I know there are some of you that do, but at the end of the day, not every MMO is for every player, and that is fine. I'm a big WoW player. I love World of Warcraft, and I love Final Fantasy XIV. The game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, which does sound good, does seem good, because graphically it should be vastly superior to Aion 1. The combat system is quote-unquote here different from other NCSoft games. Maybe it's going to be more, as they note here, action combat like Black Desert. A lot of NCSoft games are actually tab target MMOs, so it'd be really cool to see an Aion MMO realized in, or that is complemented by an action combat system. I feel like that is very plausible with this, but maybe not definitively. And the game has been developed supposedly targeting the global market. So once again, we are not an afterthought. We are the, or at least part of the main focus, the draw of the game, the target demographic, which could potentially be good, given NCSoft have confirmed on numerous occasions global is a large part of their total revenue. But then they also should know that we don't like predatory MMOs business models, and if they're going for Throne and Liberties, then I guess we'll have to wait and see. This is both good news and bad news. Good news because a sequel to Aion, bad news because this is also releasing on mobile, which means it is a cross-platform compatible MMO, like Terrasland, like the upcoming Blue Protocol MMO, all of the above. Speaking of the Blue Protocol MMO, as you guys are no doubt aware, the game was confirmed to be shutting down. The Bandai Namco version of the game, the PC MMO. And many of us were disappointed until we learned that Tencent had acquired the rights to develop and publish a new Blue Protocol MMO, Blue Protocol Star Resonance. As of, I think it was just several days ago, I did a dedicated video on this. They announced that they were going to be holding the very first official beta test for the game with a release date speculated for 2025. This beta test is going to be a Chinese exclusive test phase, which means it is a little bit difficult to get into it. I have pre-registration available down in the description, the pinned comment, if you guys are interested in attempting to get in. Once again, I have a dedicated video going over all of this in elaborate detail, but essentially this is much like Aion 2, going to be a cross-platform MMO rather than a PC MMO. It's going to have different combat, an entirely different story, completely different characters, different classes. Once again, I covered all of this, but it is worth noting that if you're interested, you can technically get into the test phase and see just how different it ultimately is to the original. And you know what, at the end of the day, maybe it'll surprise us. It probably won't, because this is a Chinese Blue Protocol rather than the Japanese Blue Protocol that we're hoping for. But you know what, at the end of the day, we might be proven wrong, and I'm okay with that. Before we go any further, let me take a moment here to thank my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are phenomenal, and I can't thank you all enough for the support. Now let's keep talking. ArcheAge 2, aka ArcheAge Chronicles, once again, to the sheer and utter surprise of absolutely nobody, has been delayed. Again, it was delayed into 2024, then late 2024, then early 2025, late 2025. Now it has been delayed even further. During Kakao's recent financial earnings call, the company told investors they are planning a closed beta test, the very first closed beta test for ArcheAge Chronicles, scheduled for early Q3 2025, the very first beta. And as I'm sure you're no doubt aware, MMOs go through multiple beta test phases before releasing. And this isn't a game that was released in Korea first and has a workable build or a working build and then is going to release within Korea and then be localized and transition over to a global release with a working stable build already established. This is going to be a test phase for everyone to test initially, with all of the bugs included that they're going to have to iron out over the course of several more months, maybe a year, maybe more. With this in mind, it makes sense that they are delaying the game into some point in 2026. Now, they did state here that the game has been well received by console players. They didn't mention PC players, but I mean, at the same time, a lot of us as PC players remember ArcheAge and remember the absolute mess that it was, and then the mess that ArcheAge Unchained was. And as you also saw in that very same image, there were numerous different games listed, including Project Q, which was a mobile PC MMO that I also covered just several days ago. But more importantly, the Chrono Odyssey MMO that is releasing onto PC and console, that is now actually labeling itself as an online action RPG rather than an MMO, which is fascinating because they label Ares Rise of Guardians as an MMO, they label Project Q as an MMO, but both Chrono Odyssey and ArcheAge Chronicles, which were MMOs, are now being labeled online action RPGs. That might just be because the MMORPG genre has now become synonymous with predatory business models, low quality, low effort games. Who knows? But as it is no doubt now evident, Chrono Odyssey has been pushed back into, or at the very least confirmed to be releasing in the fourth quarter of 2025. Good or bad news, it depends on the person. This means they still have another entire year to put the finishing touches, the polish on the game before release. And given we still haven't really seen anything other than just 2 trailers, pre-rendered trailers, over the course of the last several years of it being developed, they might have a lot of work that needs to be done. And finally, Crimson Desert came out and revealed a brand new gameplay trailer that honestly showed some pretty Black Desert-ish looking combat. It looked really cool. Unfortunately, we still know very little about the game. We're still very eagerly looking forward to it, anticipating it. A release date would be great, but at present we have some point in the second quarter of 2025. That's a whole 6-month window. Regardless, the trailer looked really cool. The combat looked really great. I am genuinely really looking forward to seeing what happens with this game and seeing it finally release. And those are I think we talked about 5 games, 6 games. Those are the game announcements that I wanted to go over the course of the last couple weeks. I've been meaning to do individual videos on each of these topics, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So here we go. Now we have them all in one easy to digest format. Hopefully this gives you something to look forward to. Hey you, where do you think you're going? Don't you close out of this tab. I didn't give you permission to do that. Sit your ass back down. Click one of the 2 videos that are gonna be on screen in just a moment and keep watching my content. Keep enjoying my content.